If you've been following the podcast episodes here at Seiyuu Lounge, you may be aware that becoming a voice actor is not an easy thing. Seiyuu struggle for years to get supporting roles in anime. They have a twisted and unfair ranking system that determines how much money they can charge, and as such they are underpaid most of the time. And now the newest generations are joining the industry just with the focus of quickly branching out to becoming idols or artists or even personalities outside of doing what voice actors usually do, voice acting. With that in mind, and following a couple of interviews I checked by Megumi Ogata, let's talk about voice acting not being a job for everyone. Let's kick off this episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyuu Lounge, I'm your host Vanessa, and today's topic is voice acting is a job for those who are chosen. Believe it or not, most Seiyuu, almost 90% of them, completely avoid talking about the industry and the hardships that come with becoming and then thriving as a voice actor. Some because they may fear backlash from fans, or even being blacklisted by anime directors or any other hotshots in the industry. However, when you've reached a legendary status among voice actors, things change, and that is the case with Megumi Ogata. I know you'll be saying, but Ogata is a female Seiyuu, why are you covering what she said in this podcast again? Well, because very few Seiyuu come forward to expose how broken and unfair the voice acting industry is. So, the truth bombs Ogata shares from time to time are worth revisiting for us to understand that our favorite Seiyuu, especially if we are fans of very popular ones, had to push through so much to get where they are now. The voice acting industry is cutthroat. So let's go over some topics and check Ogata's insights about them. AI impacting the voice acting industry. We've already covered a lot about AI and its impact on the voice acting industry in 2 special episodes of this podcast. In case you don't know, AI is already replacing narrators in some TV shows in Japan, especially on NHK, one of the biggest TV channels. There is the worry that main roles in anime will likely remain unchanged and AI won't take over in this specific case. But there is already talk in Japan of using AI to voice background or minor characters and crowds. Ogata shared that AI actually replacing that unique connection in those scenes between actors you may not know now but may become stars in the future is something you can't replicate and have the same level of quality if you use AI. There is a level of authenticity that only real voice actors can bring to a scene. Each voice actor reads the atmosphere and adjusts their lines to create a natural soundscape. This is craftsmanship that makes voice actors in Japan so respected. She adds that in Japan, voice actors work together to create a unified atmosphere, unlike recordings done separately. This collaboration makes a significant difference. Ogata adds that she often tells aspiring voice actors that it's a job for those who are chosen, not those who simply want to do it. Thinking you can just become a voice actor because you want to is, according to Ogata, naive. The industry now requires more than just acting skills. You need to have the right appearance, hobbies, and the ability to work well with others. In the voice acting industry, it's crucial to have various skills and be able to communicate effectively and clearly. Voice actors need to have the qualities to be chosen from among thousands of aspiring ones. Ogata adds that this is why she emphasizes the importance of developing various aspects of a voice actor's personality and skills. Nowadays, for example, everyone who wants to become a voice actor has a lot of tools available to help them. They can become Vocaloid singers, do voiceovers for YouTube channels, record their voices with a mobile phone or a microphone on a PC, and create their own demos. Aspiring Seiyuu can even voice characters in doujin or self-published drama CDs to get some practice in. So everyone has an even playing field right now. They have the same resources and everyone can use them. So what makes them different from each other is a mix of their voice acting skills, the right appearance, their hobbies, and their ability to work well with others. Voice acting contracts with Netflix. Seeing as anime is becoming a global trend, streaming platforms have turned to Japan to create unique anime series or exclusives and get the best casts and everything. Well, Ogata looks at these with cautious eyes. She mentioned that when Japanese voice actors work with streaming platforms like Netflix, the contracts are usually handled by the same production companies, so there's no significant change in the compensation. So even if the distribution is going to be global, the contract is still signed by Japanese standards and fees. She adds that even if the project is immensely successful, our pay remains constant, unlike some of our counterparts in the US, who may live in fancy high-end neighborhoods and are rich. Well, the competition between Netflix and Japanese anime studios exists at the moment. The production environment is increasingly challenging. However, the pay remains the same. The biggest challenges in the voice acting industry, namely the budgets and remote recordings. The voice acting industry had to make adjustments to how it works because of the pandemic in 2020. Suddenly, recordings in person were not possible and anime series still needed to have lines recorded. So remote recordings started to be a thing. Megumi Ogata mentions that voice acting has become more challenging. Due to the pandemic, voice actors can't record together anymore, or at least in big groups, which impacts the quality of their performances. Good acting relies on interaction and spontaneity, which are hard to achieve when recording alone. She adds that although some people think that recording at home is sufficient, the truth is the presence of another actor in the room makes a significant difference. In Japan, voice acting has traditionally been done as a group, which is a craft in itself. I'm very proud of this tradition, she adds. But now, new voice actors often work without ever interacting with their peers, which affects the quality of the performance. For example, in the movie Jujutsu Kaisen Rei, some actors hadn't seen the completed film when they were recording. When they finally saw it, they realized how much more they could have done if they had been able to interact with each other during the recording. Ogata adds that acting is about reacting to the other person's energy and presence, which is impossible to fully replicate in a remote setting. She continues and says, "We used to learn by watching and interacting with our seniors, but now this learning opportunity is lost. This is a huge cultural shift, and I fear it will have long-term negative effects." Well, these, that Ogata says, can explain why the newest generation of voice actors are taking a long time to improve and deliver performances that impress. They have basically no one close to them to help them improve their acting due to the recordings being done in batches of main casts, supporting casts, and minor characters, with most of these not even interacting with each other. Especially the rookie voice actors voicing the minor characters, they will never meet the veterans and the stars in the leading roles because they don't need to overlap with those recordings. Ogata continues to say, "Moreover, Japan lacks a globally competitive platform. Platforms like YouTube and Amazon dominate, taking most of the profits when it comes to the distribution of anime. For the Japanese anime industry to thrive globally, we need a strong Japan-oriented platform. This is a serious issue that needs to be addressed." So, despite the global success of Japanese anime, the working conditions for voice actors are not improving at all. This is a pressing concern that needs immediate attention but continues to be overlooked. The working conditions for Seiyuu are not improving. And picking up on that specific point, it is worth mentioning that Junichi Suabe, Yuki Kaji, and now Megumi Ogata have all reinforced this idea. Even though Japanese anime is expanding globally, the working conditions for voice actors aren't improving at all. There's a significant gap in the compensation and the good treatment of voice actors. Ogata adds that there is no improvement in sight. The production budgets are getting tighter, which directly impacts our earnings and working conditions. Moreover, the dominance of foreign platforms like YouTube, Amazon, Netflix, and Spotify makes it hard for Japanese creators to earn fair revenue from their work. It is worth mentioning that, in Japan, in the early 2000s up until the dawn of streaming platforms, Niku Niku Doga was the place for official anime previews, radio shows, and variety events to be available live or on demand for fans to pay and they have basically access to. Those platforms, unlike YouTube, for example, paid much better to creators, so right now Japanese creators have a problem. If they stay on Niku Niku Doga, they don't reach a massive audience, but they can earn a little bit more than on other platforms. Or they can be on big platforms like YouTube and get a smaller pay for their work, however, with the possibility of reaching a lot more people. And this is, according to Ogata, disheartening. Over the years, we've seen a shift to global giants, which has impacted the domestic creative industry completely and negatively. How to improve the situation for voice actors and the anime industry in Japan? Well, Ogata proposes the creation of a strong, Japan-based platform that can compete globally, ensuring that Japanese creators and voice actors can retain more of the revenue from their work. It's crucial to develop a system where the profits from Japanese anime stay within Japan and benefit the creators here. So indeed, a Japan-oriented platform could help keep the profits and support within the country, allowing for better conditions for creators and voice actors. But would it be open to international fans, seeing as how anime and 2D music projects, for example, act with their licensing? Because they often region lock their content. So this is a big question. However, Ogata thinks that these could help address many of the current issues, not all, but many. That everyone should work together to create such a platform and ensure the sustainability and growth of the Japanese anime industry. Anime may have become a global phenomenon, and Seiyuu may have started to become international stars. Just look at Yukikaji and Natsuki Hanae. However, things have changed little in the industry since 2000, and Ogata really showed just how broken the industry is, avoiding paying better to voice actors, how contracts are not really that beneficial with some platforms, and how to become a voice actor, you basically need to be more than a voice actor, from the required looks to even the perfect hobbies. Things are as hard as ever for new Seiyuu to basically thrive and become stars on their own, and following what Ogata shared, I feel like the last generation of Seiyuu which truly has the perfect mix of outstanding voice acting skills, good singing skills and looks is that of the Seiyuu born in the 90s. The newest generation of Seiyuu talents seems too formatted to look a specific way. This comes from the new industry standards of Seiyuu basically having to look like idols, but they lack any quality as voice actors, sounding even more woody and deadpan than usual for rookie Seiyuu in the past generations, for example. So there's a sort of a problem in the industry right now. The pay is not good for Seiyuu in general, regardless of their ranking. Seiyuu continue to not earn royalties or bonuses if an anime series or game is successful or gets really popular. The really talented Seiyuu are hard to get, because they are getting pickier than ever about the projects they choose, because they no longer work full-time as voice actors, juggling other activities such as writing, singing, fashion designing, and even more. And the newest generation of Seiyuu, those born in the 2000s, are so formatted that they lack anything unique that made the previous ones worth following and cheering for, focusing too much on the looks and not at all on the voice acting quality. So tell me, what do you think about basically anime becoming popular, but the industry itself not rewarding Seiyuu with better pay? What are the changes that you would like to see in the voice acting industry? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of Seiyuu Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly male Seiyuu and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. And if you are listening to this podcast on a podcast listening platform, please consider following the podcast and leaving a review. Leaving a review is really simple and helps other people find the podcast and fall in love with male Seiyuu artists and 2D groups. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.